Fun facts about the presidents of the United States of America. Now, there are 5 groups of presidents who are the same age, basically. So in the first group, we have Bill Clinton, George Walker Bush, and Donald J. Trump. All 3 of them were born in 1946. So the 42nd president, the 43rd president, and the 45th president, all 3 of them were born in 1946. In the second group, we have Jerry Ford and Dick Nixon. Gerald Rudolph Ford Jr. and Richard Milhous Nixon were both born in 1913. Of course, when Jerry Ford was born, his name wasn't actually Gerald Ford, it was actually Leslie King, because that was before he was adopted and had a legal name change. But that point aside, Gerald Ford and Richard Nixon were both born in 1913, so they constitute the second group of presidents who were born in the same year. Now, the third group. Actually, they should have been this. Actually, Jerry Ford and Dick Nixon should have been this third group, actually. But the point is, the third group, Jimmy Carter and George H.W. Bush. James Earl Carter Jr. and George Herbert Walker Bush were both born in 1924. The fourth group, John Quincy Adams and Andrew Jackson, were both born in 1767. The fifth group, Ulysses S. Grant and Rutherford Bertrand Hayes, they were born in 1822. So, as I said, we have the 42nd president, 43rd president, and 45th president, all born in 1946. And then the 37th president and the 38th president, both born in 1913. And the 39th president and the 41st president, both born in 1924. The 6th president and the 7th president, both born in 1767. And the 18th president and the 19th president, both born in 1822. Now, let's go to who was the president when each president was born. And this is going to take a while, but we're going to get through it together, because you're going to watch this video and share and subscribe and make my channel get bigger and bigger. So there's my my very selfish self-plug there. When President Biden, the current president, 46th president, when he was born, the president was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So FDR was president when Joe Biden was born. Now, so the previously, when Donald Trump was born, the president was Harry S. Truman. So Donald J. Trump was born, Harry S. Truman was the president. When Barack Obama was born, Jack Kennedy was the president of the United States. When George W. Bush was born, Harry S. Truman was president of the United States. When Bill Clinton was born, Harry S. Truman was president of the United States. When George Herbert Walker Bush, George H.W. Bush, George Bush Sr. was born, Calvin Coolidge was president of the United States. When Ronald Reagan was born, William Howard Taft was president of the United States. When Jimmy Carter was born, Calvin Coolidge was president of the United States. When Gerald Ford was born, his name was Leslie King, but anyway, when Gerald Ford was born, Woodrow Wilson was president of the United States. When Richard Nixon was born the same year as Gerald Ford, the president was actually still William Howard Taft, because Richard Nixon was born on January 9th, 2 months before the inauguration, which was March 4th. So at the time, remember, they changed the inauguration day to January 20th, starting in 1937. So prior to that, from 1793 to 1933, the inauguration was actually March 4th. And of course, the first inauguration, 1789, had been actually on April 30th. But the point is, Richard Nixon and Jerry Ford, though born the same year, were born during the time of two different presidents because of the months they were born in. Ford was born during Wilson, Nixon was born during Taft. Now, Lyndon B. Johnson was born while Theodore Roosevelt Jr. was the President of the United States. So LBJ, Lyndon Johnson, Lyndon Baines Johnson, was born while Teddy Roosevelt was President of the United States. So Lyndon and Teddy. Jack Kennedy was born while Woodrow Wilson was the President of the United States. Dwight Eisenhower was born while Benjamin Harrison was President of the United States. Harry S. Truman was born while Chester A. Arthur was President of the United States. Franklin D. Roosevelt was born while Chester A. Arthur was President of the United States. Very funny because Truman and Roosevelt were Democrats, but Arthur was Republicans. Herbert Clark Hoover was born while Ulysses S. Grant was the President of the United States. Calvin Coolidge was also born while Ulysses Grant was President of the United States. Hoover and Coolidge Republicans, Grant Republicans, so that lines up. Warren Gamaliel Harding was born while Andrew Johnson was President of the United States. Woodrow Wilson was actually born while Franklin Pierce was President of the United States, because Franklin Pierce was 1853 to 1857, March 4th. That's right. William Howard Taft was born while James Buchanan was President of the United States. Teddy Roosevelt was also born while James Buchanan was President of the United States. Teddy and Jim. William McKinley was born while John Tyler was President of the United States, because John Tyler was President from 1841 to 1845, March 4th. No, actually, John Tyler became President on April 4th, 1841, and was President until March 4th, 1845. So yeah, William McKinley was born while John Tyler was the President of the United States. Benjamin Harrison was born while Andrew Jackson was President of the United States. Grover Cleveland, oh wait, I should say Grover Cleveland right after William McKinley, because Grover Cleveland was president after Benjamin Harrison and also before Benjamin Harrison. But yeah, so Grover Cleveland was born while Grover Cleveland was born while Martin Van Buren was President of the United States. In fact, when Grover Cleveland was born, Martin Van Buren had only been president for 14 days. So Grover Cleveland was born 2 weeks into Martin Van Buren's administration. And then Benjamin Harrison was born while Andrew Jackson was President of the United States. Grover Cleveland, as I said, was born while Martin Van Buren was President of the United States. Chester Arthur was born while Andrew Jackson was President of the United States, because Chester Arthur was born in 1829. Andrew Jackson was president from 1829 to 1837, March 4th, 1829 to March 4th, 1827. James Garfield was also born while Andrew Jackson was president of the United States, because Garfield was born in 1831, and that is when Jackson was president. Now, Rutherford Hayes was born while James Monroe was president of the United States. Ulysses Grant was also born while James Monroe was president of the United States. Both Grant and Hayes were born in 1822. James Monroe was president from 1817 to 1825, March 4th. Andrew Johnson was born while Thomas Jefferson was president of the United States. Abraham Lincoln was born while Thomas Jefferson was president of the United States. When Abraham Lincoln was 1 month old, James Madison became the new president of the United States. But when Lincoln was born, Jefferson was still the president. James Buchanan was born while George Washington was president. Franklin Pierce was born while Thomas Jefferson was the president, because Thomas Jefferson was the president from 1801 to 1809, March 4th, and Franklin Pierce was born in 1804. So Franklin Pierce, yep, born the same year that Thomas Jefferson was re-elected as president. Millard Fillmore was born while John Adams was still the president. Of course, months later, John Adams would go on to lose the election of 1800. But Fillmore was born while Adams was president. John Adams Sr., by the way, second president of the United States. Zachary Taylor was born in 1784, back when there were no presidents, because they were still fighting for independence. James Polk was born while George Washington was the president of the United States. Washington's second term, Polk was born. John Tyler was born during George Washington's first term. So John Tyler was born while George Washington was the president of the United States. William Henry Harrison was born when there was no president. So was Martin Van Buren and Andrew Jackson and John Quincy Adams and James Monroe and James Madison and Thomas Jefferson and John Adams and George Washington. So yeah. Basically, those were the presidents of the United States when the presidents were born. Fun facts, fun facts, fun facts. Now, let's go back a little further. And we'll go back up to the top. So, George Washington, born 1732. John Adams, born 1735. Thomas Jefferson, born 1743. James Madison, 1751, James Monroe, 1758, John Quincy Adams, 1767, Andrew Jackson, 1767, Martin Van Buren, 1782, William Henry Harrison, 1773, John Tyler, 1790, James Polk, 1795, Zachary Taylor, 1784, Millard Fillmore, 1800, Franklin Pierce, 1804, James Buchanan, 1791, Abraham Lincoln, 1809, Andrew Johnson, 1808, Ulysses Grant, 1822, Rutherford Hayes, 1822, James Garfield, 1831, Chester Arthur, 1829, Grover Cleveland, 1837, Benjamin Harrison, 1833, Grover Cleveland, 1837, William McKinley, 1843, Teddy Roosevelt, 1858, William Howard Taft, 1857, Woodrow Wilson, 1856, Warren Harding, 1865, Calvin Coolidge, 1872, Herbert Hoover, 1874, Franklin Roosevelt, 1882, Harry Truman, 1884, Dwight Eisenhower, 1890, Jack Kennedy, 1917, Lyndon Johnson, 1808, Richard Nixon, 1913, Jerry Ford, 1913, Jimmy Carter, 1924, Ronald Reagan, 1911, George H.W. Bush, 1924, Bill Clinton, 1946, George W. Bush, 1946, Barack Obama, 1961, Donald Trump, 1946, President Biden, 1942. Now, I'll be back in a moment, but I need to get a drink of water because I'm really thirsty. Okay, I have returned with my water. It's actually tea, but anyway, it's good for hydration because my throat was very thirsty. Okay, so basically, George Washington was 3 years older than John Adams. John Adams 8 years older than Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson, 8 years older than James Madison. James Madison, 7 years older than James Monroe. James Monroe, 9 years older than John Quincy Adams. John Quincy Adams, same age as Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson, 15 years older than Martin Van Buren. Martin Van Buren, 11 years older than Martin Van Buren, 9 years younger than William Henry Harrison. So William Henry Harrison is older than Martin Van Buren. So the first time a succeeding president has been older than the preceding president. William Henry Harrison, 17 years older than John Tyler. John Tyler, 5 years older than James Polk. James Polk, 11 years younger than Zachary Taylor. So Zachary Taylor was older than James Polk. Millard Fillmore, 16 years younger than Zachary Taylor. Franklin Pierce. Actually, let's start over and keep this a little consistent. Let's keep the preceding one older than the first one. So like, I'll say George Washington before John Adams like I was doing before, because I mixed it up to where I was talking about the succeeding one to the preceding one and saying how the succeeding president, yeah, anyway, let's get back on topic. George Washington, 3 years older than John Adams. John Adams, 8 years older than Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson was 8 years older than James Madison. James Madison, 7 years older than James Monroe. James Monroe, 9 years older than John Quincy Adams. John Quincy Adams, same age as Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson, 15 years older than Martin Van Buren. Martin Van Buren, 9 years younger than William Henry Harrison. William Henry Harrison, 17 years older than John Tyler. John Tyler, 5 years older than James Polk. James Polk, 11 years younger than Zachary Taylor. Zachary Taylor, 16 years older than Millard Fillmore. Millard Fillmore, 4 years older than Franklin Pierce. Franklin Pierce, 13 years younger than James Buchanan. James Buchanan, 18 years older than Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, 1 year younger than Andrew Johnson. Andrew Johnson, 14 years older than Ulysses Grant. Ulysses Grant, same age as Rutherford Hayes. Rutherford Hayes, 9 years older than James Garfield. James Garfield, 2 years younger than Chester Arthur. Chester Arthur, 8 years older than Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland, 4 years younger than Benjamin Harrison. Benjamin Harrison, 4 years older than Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland, 6 years older than William McKinley. William McKinley, 15 years older than Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt, 1 year younger than William Taft. William Taft, 1 year younger than Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson, 9 years older than Warren Harding. Sip of water. Warren Harding, 7 years older than Calvin Coolidge. Calvin Coolidge, 2 years older than Herbert Hoover. Herbert Hoover, 8 years older than Franklin Roosevelt. Franklin Roosevelt, 2 years older than Harry Truman. Harry Truman, 6 years older than Dwight Eisenhower. Dwight Eisenhower, 27 years older than Jack Kennedy. Lyndon Johnson, Jack Kennedy, 9 years younger than Lyndon Johnson. Lyndon Johnson, 5 years older than Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon, same age as Jerry Ford. Jerry Ford, 11 years older than Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter, 13 years younger than Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan, 13 years older than George H.W. Bush. George H.W. Bush, 22 years older than Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, same age as George W. Bush. George W. Bush, 15 years older than Barack Obama. Barack Obama, 15 years younger than Donald Trump. Donald Trump, 4 years younger than President Biden. Yep, so I did a little math here in my head because I know the years that they were born, but I was doing math to find out the age differences. that's going to be it for this video because I'm really, really thirsty. And yep, I'm a little tired today because when I was uploading YouTube videos and live recording yesterday, the live stream was so bad that it didn't load for so long that I had to wait for hours for it to load, so I ended up going to sleep at like 2:58 in the morning. So, yep, not fun, but I mean, I love doing videos, but technology stuff is a headache sometimes.